CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I've noticed that these kinds of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might even make the experience a little creepier. So, tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? I was sent a Livestream link on the dark web. It showed a ritual in a mansion, and the man wearing the mask was my CEO. Alright, so before I get into this, no, I don't want clout, and no, I'm not making any of this up. I don't even know if I should be posting this here, but I can't sleep. My apartment feels too quiet, like someone's just listening. If you're reading this, just remember, I warned you. This isn't one of those I found a weird website on the deep web stories. This isn't a game. This is real. I wish it wasn't. Let me backtrack. My name's Mike. I'm 25. I work in marketing for this startup in New York. I won't name it for obvious reasons, but it's one of those tech companies that acts like they're all about mental health and positivity. But behind the scenes, a whole different beast. Think Google meets Black Mirror, weekly yoga, kombucha on tap, and corporate vibes that feel just a bit too curated, you know. Anyway, I started getting into weird internet stuff during COVID lockdown, just like everybody else. YouTube rabbit holes, Reddit conspiracy threads, analog horror vids at 3 a.m., stuff that scratches that weird curiosity itch. I was always super fascinated by stories about the deep web, especially those animated horror ones you find on channels like Here's My Story, or those old r/no sleep narrations with creepy music behind them. But I never thought I'd actually get involved with it until 3 weeks ago. It started on a regular Thursday. I was sitting at a Starbucks near Union Square, editing content for a mental wellness campaign my company was launching. Ironically, my MacBook was open, iced chai in hand, lo-fi music in my AirPods. Normal vibes. That's when I got the first email. Subject line: you shouldn't ignore this. No sender, no address. It just appeared in my inbox, sitting there like a spider in the corner of a room. Inside the email, just one thing. A link. Not a normal link either. It wasn't YouTube. It wasn't a Google Drive file. It was something like http://zeta Black Mirror 001.onion/live. Yeah, a freaking .onion link, which means it's only accessible through Tor, the browser you use to explore the deep web. At first, I just laughed it off, thought it was spam or a joke. But here's the thing, I had never signed up for anything on the deep web before. I had no burner emails, no aliases, nothing. And yet, here was this perfectly crafted, targeted email to my work email. That part hit different, out of pure curiosity, and yeah, maybe stupidity. I downloaded Tor later that night. Fast forward to 1 a.m. I'm alone in my apartment. Lights off except for my desk lamp. The kind of night where you feel like something's just behind you, watching from the dark corners of your room. I type in the link. The screen flickers. Static. Then black. Then it loads. A live stream. At first, I thought it was fake. The quality was too good. Full HD. No buffering. The camera looked like it was mounted high up, maybe in the corner of a room, like security footage. What it showed was haunting. A large room, marble floors, chandeliers, stone statues of angels lining the walls, but not the pretty kind. These ones had their faces scratched out, mouths wide open, like they were screaming, like they were witnessing something. Dead center, there was a circle of candles, red wax, dripping and pooling into strange patterns on the floor. And in the middle of that, a man kneeling, his hands bound behind his back, and standing behind him, a figure, tall, dressed in a black suit, wearing a mask. Not just any mask either. It looked like an old plague doctor mask, but it was modernized, almost like it was 3D printed, black, matte, with glowing red lenses over the eyes. He didn't move, just stood there, watching. I remember sitting there frozen, my hand over the power button, but I couldn't look away. The camera slowly zoomed in. This wasn't some shaky hidden cam. This was intentional, scripted. Someone wanted me to see this. Then the masked man spoke. His voice was distorted, deep and metallic, but I swear to God, I recognized the cadence, the way he enunciated his words, the pauses. That's when my stomach dropped. It sounded exactly like my CEO, David. Look, I know how crazy that sounds, but if you worked for him, you'd understand. He's got this weird charisma, always talking like he's reading from a TED Talk script. And this voice, it was the same tone, same slow, hypnotic rhythm. I wanted to close the browser. I should have, but something about it held me there, like I had to see what would happen next. The man in the center, he started begging. I couldn't hear him clearly, but I saw his mouth moving fast, shaking, crying. He looked young, maybe my age. Then the camera cut, just straight black screen, and then words, white text, like a title card. Participant number 214, terminated. Tomorrow, participant number 215 will be chosen. That's when the stream ended. Just static. Nothing else. I sat there for what felt like an hour, just staring at my screen, trying to make sense of it. Was it a short film? Some twisted ARG? I scoured Reddit. No one else had mentioned it. It didn't match any urban legend or creepypasta. It felt too real. I barely slept that night. The next day, I went to work, and that's when I noticed something. My boss, David, was wearing a new watch, a sleek black one with red accents, the exact same kind the masked man wore during the stream. I know because I noticed it when he reached out during the ritual. Same design, same scratch near the clasp. He looked at me like nothing happened, like nothing had changed. And then I got the second email. You're next. I didn't go into work the next day. I sat on my bed, staring at my laptop screen, reading that second email over and over again. You're next. Nothing else. No signature, no address, no subject line this time. Just those two words. Bold, scented, like it was mocking me. My chest felt hollow, like someone scooped out all my organs and left a ticking clock inside. Every second that passed felt closer to something. I didn't know what yet, but my gut did. That kind of instinct you don't ignore. The same kind that tells animals when to flee a forest seconds before an earthquake. That's what this felt like. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I just kept replaying the stream in my mind, trying to convince myself I was overthinking, that I was losing it, that there's no way my CEO was in some rich guy death cult or whatever the hell this was. But something in my bones knew I was right. That night, I couldn't take it anymore. I went back to the TOR browser. I don't know why. Curiosity? Self-destruction? I wish I'd smashed my laptop instead. I typed the link again. http://zeta blackmirror001.onion/live. Except this time, it didn't take me to the stream. It took me to a black page. No video. Just a list. Participant list. Access restricted. And beneath that, a login prompt. Username. Password. I almost clicked away, but my hands moved faster than my brain. I typed in my work email as the username, the same email they contacted. I had no password, so I just hit enter, expecting an error. Instead, it logged me in. The screen flashed, then loaded a document, a spreadsheet. Name, age, location, status, and the first entry on the list, Matthew D., 28, Boston, Massachusetts. Terminated second entry, Megan C., 31, Los Angeles, California. Terminated. The list kept going. Dozens of names, hundreds. Some were marked pending. A few were marked observed, but most terminated. And then, 3 rows down from the bottom, I saw mine. Michael R., 25, New York, NY. Observed. I stared at it. My heart was pounding like a hammer in my chest. Every time it beat, I thought I'd black out. I tried to log out, but the screen froze. Then the video feed came back. Not the mansion. My apartment. It was me. The camera was placed in the upper corner of my living room, behind the vent, where I'd never look. I could see myself sitting there, frozen at the desk. I watched me watch me. That's when I knew this wasn't a joke. They were in my apartment. I leapt up, tearing apart my living room. Every drawer, every socket, every vent cover. And then I found it. A small, matte black lens, no larger than a screw head, drilled into the air vent like it belonged there. The light was so faint, I wouldn't have noticed unless I was looking for it. And taped underneath my coffee table, a phone, burner model, cheap, the kind you can't track. It buzzed. I jumped back like it was a bomb. One new message. Participant number 215 is under observation. Do not attempt escape. Violation will result in early termination. That was it. I smashed the phone with a hammer, smashed the camera, ripped every plug out of the wall. But I already knew it was too late. These people didn't just watch. They planned. 3 days went by. I stayed in hotels, burned through credit cards, tried to stay off grid. I deleted all my apps, dumped my laptop in a sewer grate near Grand Central, and even wore sunglasses inside like some paranoid lunatic. But they still found me. Every time I checked into a hotel under a fake name, a letter would slide under the door within hours, handwritten. Always the same message. You've been seen. I started seeing people in suits everywhere I went. Not the normal Wall Street type. These people didn't blink, didn't talk, just watched. Their heads would turn in sync if I passed by. It was inhuman, like something pretending to be human. I stayed at a seedy motel in Jersey for 2 nights. Thought I could wait them out. That's when the live stream came back. But this time, I didn't log in. It auto-opened on the motel TV. Old CRT screen. Wasn't even plugged into cable. Just lit up in the middle of the night with that same crystal clear feed. The marble room. The candles. But this time, the person kneeling was a woman. Blinded. Gagged. Crying. The masked figure circled her, slowly. Same plague mask, same black suit. But the most disturbing part, on the wall behind him, a projection screen, showing me, in my motel bed, sleeping. I was watching them, watching me, while I was being watched. Then I woke up to screaming. But it wasn't me. It wasn't the woman either. It was the person in the next room. I banged on the wall. No answer. I ran outside into the parking lot. There was blood on the window, dripping, thick, smeared into letters from the inside. Run. That's all it said. I called the cops. They showed up in 15 minutes. Room was empty, spotless, no blood, no sign of anyone ever staying there. They looked at me like I was the crazy one. I left that night and never looked back. Here's where it gets worse. Last week, I broke. I went back to my office building. It had been 2 weeks since I saw my CEO, David. I had to see him. I had to know if he'd look me in the eye. Except the building was empty. Like, completely empty. Not just weekend empty. I mean cleared out. Desks gone. Computers stripped. The walls were bare. Even the damn carpets were torn up. There was nothing but echo and dust. But the lights were on. And on the top floor, his office, I found something taped to the inside of the glass. A photo, black and white, of me, sleeping. The photo was old, like printed from film. On the back, scribbled in red ink, participant number 216, session scheduled. And that's when I noticed something about the photo that nearly made me vomit. In the corner of the image, standing over my bed, a figure wearing a mask, only this time. It wasn't the same plague mask. It was a new one, handmade, paper mache, paint peeling, a face with no eyes and a wide, inhuman smile stretched from ear to ear, and its hand was touching my forehead, like it was choosing me. I ran like hell. I went to the police, showed them everything, emails, screenshots, the picture. You know what they did? They took my phone, said it was being investigated, told me to get some rest. That was 5 days ago. Yesterday, I got a letter in the mail. No return address, sealed with wax. Inside was a single word, tonight. I'm writing this from a public library, surrounded by strangers. I haven't slept. My eyes burn. I'm not going home. I'm not checking into any hotels. I'm going to sit here until the lights go out and the staff kick me out, because I know what happens next. The stream will turn on, the candles will light, the masked figure will appear, and I'll be the one kneeling. You ever hear silence so thick it feels like it's breathing? That's where I've been since the night I got that letter. Tonight. Just that. No signature, no threats, because they didn't need threats. That single word was enough. It was a promise. And when people like them make a promise, they keep it. But they didn't come that night. They let me wait. 4 days. 4 days of nothing. No emails, no cameras, no live stream. Like I didn't matter anymore. Like they were letting me rot in fear. And let me tell you, that's worse than anything they could have done. Have you ever stared at the sky for so long you forgot it was blue? Slept in a Walmart parking lot, gripping a screwdriver in your hand because you don't trust your own shadow. That's where I was, existing like a ghost, too afraid to move, too tired to stay still. But I'm not telling you this to make you feel bad. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand what it feels like when your name is on a list of people being fed into a machine, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Because last night, they finally made their move. I'd been squatting in an abandoned Airbnb on the outskirts of Brooklyn. It was under renovation. Half the walls stripped down to the wood, windows covered in black tarp, dust thick enough to choke on. Perfect place for someone who doesn't want to be found. But they found me anyway. It started around 1:33 a.m. There was a knock on the front door. 3 times. Then silence. I didn't answer. I sat on the floor with my back against the bathroom door, holding my breath so hard it felt like my ribs would snap. Then the TV turned on. No cable, no power. I hadn't touched it. It just came on. Same black screen, same white text. Live session, participant number 216. I was next, but it wasn't showing a stream this time. It was a countdown. 0, 0, 59, 58. I watched it tick down, second by second, like a bomb in my face. I tried to run. Out the back door, over fences, barefoot through alleys like a rabid animal. I didn't care. I needed to get away. But there's no away when they've already chosen you. I woke up somewhere I didn't recognize. Not metaphorically. I mean, I literally blacked out mid-run and woke up in a room that felt like it was pulled from a Victorian funeral home. I was tied to a wooden chair. Leather straps dug into my wrists and ankles. The air was thick with incense, sweet but wrong, like rotting flowers dipped in gasoline. The room was small, no windows, red velvet curtains along the walls, which I'm convinced were hiding something. Maybe mirrors, maybe people. I don't know, but I could feel eyes on me. And then the screen flickered on, a mounted monitor across from me, my live stream. Except this time, it wasn't just me being broadcast. There was a chat, a live chat, like Twitch, but slower, controlled. Every message was perfectly spaced, perfectly timed. I saw usernames that didn't look like names, just symbols, glyphs, strings of numbers. One said, Chi Delta 9901. Subject 216 appears agitated. Begin extraction. Extraction. That's when I heard the door open behind me. I couldn't turn my head, but I saw the mask out of the corner of my eye. Not the plague mask this time. This one was worse. It was human skin, stretched and stitched into the shape of a clown's face. Smile carved too wide. One eye hole larger than the other, like it had been torn open. It smelled like chemicals and something else. Something dead. He didn't speak. He just walked around me. Slow. Deliberate. Like he was admiring a piece of art. Then he raised his hand, and he was holding a scalpel. Let me be clear. This wasn't a horror movie. There was no screaming music, no sudden jump scares. Just the sound of the blade scraping against metal as he tapped it against the chair. He didn't cut me. Not yet. He held it under my chin and just watched. Then the chat lit up again. Detroit 731. Test cognitive endurance. Proceed with phase 1. The clown mask figure walked over to the monitor and pressed something I couldn't see. The room changed. The curtains fell to the floor. Behind them, screens. Dozens of screens, all showing different camera feeds, different people, sleeping, eating, crying. Some were kids. One was a man who looked exactly like my old college roommate. Another screen showed a McDonald's in Paris. A girl in the corner booth, crying silently, while a man in a janitor uniform stood behind her, not moving. Every screen had a name, a number, and a countdown. He was showing me how big this was. This wasn't just about me. This was systematic. They were watching the world, picking people like fruit, ripening them, feeding them fear, making them paranoid until they were ready, until their minds were broken enough to be harvested. I started to scream, not because I thought it would help, just because I couldn't not. He finally spoke. His voice wasn't real. It was a recording, like a museum tour guide, pre-recorded and mechanical. Subject 216 has reached optimal emotional state. Begin phase 2. Transfer. The lights went out. I don't remember what happened next. It felt like falling into myself. My body shut down, but my mind stayed on. I saw flashes, people in black robes, a stone room with markings carved into the walls, a woman whispering into my ear, in a language I've never heard but somehow understood. When I woke up again, I wasn't tied down anymore. I was in a field, grass up to my knees, fog everywhere, no buildings, just fog and the sound of something cackling in the distance. I was wearing all black. My hands were covered in red paint or blood. I don't know. There was a symbol carved into my forearm, looked like a spiral made of teeth. I walked for hours before I found a gas station. I looked like a lunatic, muddy, bleeding, filthy. The guy behind the counter called the cops, but when they showed up, they took me in the back seat and said nothing the entire drive. They didn't ask what happened. They didn't ask for my name. They drove me to a building that looked like a psychiatric clinic, but inside, there were no patients, just cameras, one in each corner of every room, and a hallway lined with empty wheelchairs. That was last night. They let me go this morning, just like that. No questions, just handed me my phone, which I didn't even know they had, and a single piece of paper on it. Session complete. Thank you for your contribution. I checked my email when I got back to a library. Everything was gone. Inbox cleared. Work accounts deactivated. My name was no longer on the participant list, but I saw a new entry. David L., 43, Manhattan, New York. Terminated. My CEO is dead. I don't know how. I don't know why. But I think they used me. I think the ritual wasn't about hurting me. It was about using me to do something to him. And I can't tell if that makes me a victim or a murderer. There's a new email in my inbox. No subject, no text. Just an attachment. A Livestream link. And under the link, my face. Smiling. Wearing the mask. I never clicked the Livestream link. I didn't have to. Because this time, the stream clicked me. It was around 3:14 a.m. Yeah, I remember the exact time, because that's when all the lights in the 24-hour library cut out. Total blackout. Just pop, and everything died. Phones, laptops, power. Even the security cameras above the exit blinked once, then froze, like they were turned off from somewhere else. And then, in that bone-dry silence, every screen in the building lit up, every single one, from the public use desktops to the security guard's ancient flip phone. All at once, same image, a static screen, with a single word scrawled in jagged red text. Receiving. I ran, out the fire escape, barefoot and bleeding because I'd kicked the damn exit door open so hard I broke a toe. Didn't even feel it at the time. I just ran until my legs gave out and I collapsed under an overpass in Queens. I lay there for hours, shivering, watching the cars roll by overhead. None of them stopped. I could have screamed, but what's the point when the people who matter already know where you are? They don't need GPS. They don't even need your name. If you've ever streamed yourself, ever FaceTimed, ever activated your camera just once on TikTok, you've given them access. They don't steal your identity. They overwrite it. And that's exactly what they were doing to me. I was being replaced. Later that morning, I got a text, but not from a number, not from a contact. It came in through my alarm app. You ever seen your alarm go off with a message like this? Wake up, participant. Phase 3 initiated. The moment I read it, my body locked up. My muscles twitched like someone else was pulling the strings. I don't know how to explain it. It's like my nerves were hijacked. My head was screaming, "Move!" And my limbs were like, "Nah, not our job anymore." I lay on the sidewalk for 20 minutes while my brain rebooted. And when I could move again, I knew exactly where I needed to go. Not because anyone told me, but because it was in my head. A location, burned into the base of my skull. Latitude, longitude, a mansion, but not the one from the stream. Another one. Worse. It was in rural Pennsylvania. Deep, like GPS won't work deep. I hitchhiked to a town called Thornhill. Don't bother looking it up. You won't find it. Doesn't exist on Google. But it exists. And I knew I was getting close when the trees started leaning inward, like they were watching, like they knew what I was walking into and were whispering, "Don't." But I didn't have a choice. Not anymore. This was phase 3. The mansion wasn't decayed or haunted looking. It was perfect. Too perfect. Ivory columns, glass windows that reflected nothing. The kind of place rich people brag about owning on Instagram, but no one actually lives in. The front door was open, not unlocked. Open. Inside, it smelled like cold marble and rotten roses, and something else. Something coppery. Familiar. Blood. The floor was lined with shoes. Men's dress shoes. Women's heels. Children's sneakers. Dozens of pairs. All arranged in a circle. Each one pointing outward. Like whoever wore them had been standing in formation. There was a spiral staircase leading down, and I swear the air shifted as I took the first step. Not in a normal way. Gravity changed. Each step made my ears pop, like I was going underground through time, not space. And at the bottom, the chamber, 10 times the size of the last ritual room. Candles everywhere. A massive circle drawn in a mixture of salt, ash, and teeth. Human teeth. I counted at least 300 before I had to stop myself from vomiting. And in the center, a mirror. Not a normal mirror. This one was made of skin, stretched tightly over a metal frame. The surface shimmered like a TV screen on static. And when I looked into it, I didn't see me. I saw him. The masked figure. But not just masked. Now he was me. Same eyes, same building, same stupid scar above my left eyebrow from that bike accident when I was 12. But the smile? That wasn't mine. That smile was a lie wearing my face. I don't know how long I stood there before I noticed the others. 10 of them, standing around a circle, motionless, wearing masks, each mask different. One was covered in moth wings. Another was made entirely of piano keys. One looked like raw meat, pulsing gently. And then, the leader stepped forward, not wearing a mask, wearing my skin, not metaphorically, literally. It was me, but not me. His face, my face, hung loosely over his own, stitched and stapled along the edges like a Halloween costume made from a corpse. His eyes weren't human, just pits, endless tunnels of screaming red. He didn't speak. He just held out a box. Inside, my phone. It was open to my camera, recording. The screen blinked once, and then the words appeared. You've been live for 3 hours. 1.3 million viewers. And under that, chat messages started to appear. XPSI 91-Delta. The vessel is perfect. Omega M 314. He's ready. Hoikshoes 13. Begin replacement. They moved fast after that. The mirror pulsed. The figure in it walked toward me, out of the glass, like the boundary between this world and that one didn't exist anymore. His steps made no sound, no echo. He didn't breathe. He just entered me. No cuts, no blood. He didn't break the skin. He slid into me like smoke into lungs. And that's when I felt it, splitting. My thoughts, my memories, my identity, hijacked. He was sifting through me like a library, picking what he needed, rewriting what he didn't. Childhood, gone. Favorite movie, replaced. Old fears, upgraded. I screamed inside myself, but on the outside, I laughed like I just heard the world's funniest joke. It wasn't me anymore. I wasn't controlling it. My mouth moved, my face smiled, my body waved to the camera, and then I watched myself leave the chamber. He's in me now. You've probably seen me. Maybe on TikTok, maybe on YouTube, maybe that weird Reels video of a guy with blank eyes walking through Times Square like he's on autopilot. Or maybe you've already clicked one of my streams without realizing. That strange link you got in your Discord DM, that pop-up ad you accidentally clicked at 2 a.m., the corrupted Snapchat filter, the black screen that flickered and showed you something for half a second. That was me. That's how it spreads. Not like a virus, like an update, a patch to reality, one user at a time. So let me leave you with this. Don't click strange links. Don't trust the reflections. Don't watch the streams. And if you wake up with a name that isn't yours, if you find a camera in your room that wasn't there yesterday, if you see your face smiling back at you from someone else's phone, it's already too late. This isn't the story anymore. This is the part where the lights go off in your room and don't come back on. I know you think you're safe, reading this from a phone, or maybe your laptop, maybe under some soft LED lights in your cozy room while a playlist hums in the background. You think there's a screen between us. There isn't. Not anymore. Because you clicked. You read the title. You hovered over it. You let the words in. And that's all it takes. That's all they need. Let me walk you through what happens next. You're going to finish this story and tell yourself it's fiction. A weird horror pasta. A dark web tale you'll forget in a few days. But tonight is when things start to bleed. Because this final part isn't about me. It's about you. It's about what happens after the ritual. After he enters. And once he's in, there's no getting him out. I've seen what happens. I've been what happens. Do you remember when your reflection didn't match your movement for half a second? Do you remember when you heard your voice whisper your name from the other side of a call that never rang? Do you remember waking up at 3:36 a.m. for no reason and staring at the corner of your room because you swore something was standing there just outside your line of sight? It was him. It was me. They don't just stream you. They don't just copy you. They replace you. They do it piece by piece, not all at once. That would be too easy. They start with something small, a laugh that isn't yours, a memory you can't recall, a shadow where there shouldn't be one. And the watchers? They're always there. You just can't see them. Not yet. I found out what phase 3 really means. It's not death. It's transfer. It's turning a human soul into a broadcast frequency. Think of yourself like a streaming channel. They strip your personality into raw code, flatten you, upload your consciousness into a library of pain and data, something they can replay, twist, use. Every fear you've ever had becomes content. And guess who's watching? People. Wealthy. Some. Most. Aren't people anymore. They don't blink. They don't eat. They feed on attention. They bathe in screams. They speak in .fov files and laugh like corrupted audio tracks. They don't want your money. They want yourself. In the room where they took me, there was a door marked only with a single phrase, for those who have been watched. Inside, there were rows of chairs facing a single screen, and strapped into each chair, bodies, alive, barely, pale, twitching, mouths open, but no sound coming out, eyes wide and bloodshot. But they weren't looking at the screen. They were streaming the screen. They were the source. They were feeding the signal. And in the middle of them, a child, no older than 8, eyes missing, fingers bent backwards into impossible shapes, and still smiling. This is where you say, it's fake. This is where you check your notifications, where you scroll away, laugh it off. But there's one problem. You're already being indexed. You reading this? That was phase 1. Your heartbeat changed around paragraph 3. Your pupils dilated. Your device's mic turned on for 0.03 seconds. Don't believe me? Go into your battery settings, check your app usage, see something called SysWatch Core. You didn't install it, but it's there. Now, listen closely, because this part is important. Once the ritual is complete, they won't take your body. That's too obvious. That's messy. No, they let your body stay. But you get buried, digitally, psychologically, spiritually. Ever felt like you were watching your own life happen from the outside? That's not dissociation. That's you being replaced, piece by piece, until there's nothing left but a face that smiles at all the right times, says all the right things, fits in just right, but isn't you. It's never been you, not since you clicked. Let me describe your ending, because it's already written. You'll start seeing a shadow in your peripheral vision, not a person, not even a shape, just a pressure in your bones, like the room gets heavier when you're alone. Then, your mirrors will start glitching, only for a second. Your reflection will linger just a heartbeat too long. Maybe it'll smile when you don't. Maybe it'll blink wrong. And if you look too long, you'll see him, the mask. It changes depending on who you are. For some, it's a porcelain doll face, cracked and bleeding from the eyes. For others, it's a twisted imitation of your best friend's smile, stitched shut with human hair. For you? Well, you'll find out soon, because the ritual finishes in your sleep, always in your sleep. The live stream? It's already started. You're not watching anymore. You're the content now. Someone, somewhere, is tuning in right now. They're watching you read this, watching your hands shake a little, watching the way your eyes flick to the edges of your screen. They're rating your fear, leaving comments like D942. This one's almost ready. Omega 303. I like how this one twitches. Redacted. Send them the final link. What final link? You'll know when it shows up. It won't be in your inbox. It'll be in the real world. Maybe it's written on your bathroom mirror in condensation when you get out of the shower tomorrow. Maybe it's playing from your AirPods when you swear you never hit play. Maybe it's written in black marker on a Starbucks napkin you didn't take. Maybe it's whispered to you in your sleep by a voice that sounds just like yours, but wrong. And when you see it, when you read it, your eyes will roll back, your lungs will empty, and your body will walk into the final chamber without you. Because this story, it was the last part of the ritual. Reading it, finishing it, believing it. That completed the circuit. You're not just a viewer anymore. You're the stream. You're the next ritual. And we're all watching. But for you, this is just the beginning. Don't check the mirror. Not tonight. I paid for a live feed of a murder mystery experience. The victim was me, but it hasn't happened yet. Yo, what's up? So, before I even start this story, just know I'm not the kind of person to make up crazy stuff. I don't write fiction, I don't troll people, and I definitely don't believe in ghosts or any of that paranormal crap. I'm just a normal guy who works from home, plays too much Warzone, scrolls TikTok till 2 a.m., and occasionally wanders too far down the internet rabbit hole. Anyway, this all started 2 months ago. It was a Saturday night. I was home alone in my apartment in Toronto, scrolling through Reddit and munching on cold McDonald's fries because I was too lazy to heat up real food. I had this YouTube video playing on my second monitor, one of those deep web iceberg explained videos that are kinda overdone now, but still hit when you're bored at 1 a.m. About halfway through the video, the narrator mentioned this trend from like the mid-2000s and 10s. You probably heard of it. Red rooms. If you haven't, basically they're these creepy live streams people claim to have found on the dark web, where real people get tortured or worse, and the viewers can pay to make things happen. Yeah, that dark. Now I've heard about red rooms a bunch, but I always thought it was fake internet urban legend kind of stuff, like Slender Man, but edgier. Still, in my half-asleep, caffeine-cracked state, I started Googling modern red room websites, just out of curiosity. Like, I wasn't gonna do anything sketchy. I was just looking to see what kind of dumb rabbit holes I could go down. After like 30 minutes of bouncing through Reddit threads, shady YouTube videos with AI voice narrators, and a few deep web forums, yeah, I have Tor, don't ask, I found this weird link. It wasn't even hidden deep. It was just there, right on a pastebin page someone posted anonymously. The link was clean, like it looked clean. HTTPS. No sketchy symbols, no gibberish URL. It said, mysteryme.live, the first ever real-time murder, mystery game. You decide what happens. Okay, cool branding, right? Sounded like an ARG or some super immersive escape room thing. I figured it was just some interactive video project, or maybe even a scam, but I clicked anyway. The site was creepy, but polished. The homepage was all black and red, with this looping background video of statusy CCTV footage. Text faded in. You're not just a spectator, you're a player. Control the narrative. Watch it unfold live. Then there was this big red button that said, Join now, $6.66 for first access. Bro, they really leaned into the whole horror vibe. Now here's the thing, I'm not proud of this, but I was bored, I was alone, and it was less than $7. I've spent more on Twitch subs. So yeah, I clicked it. Paid through Stripe, again super normal, which made it feel less sketchy, and got taken to a dashboard. There were 3 things on the page. A countdown timer, set for 72 hours. A video player window with the words Stream Locked begins in 71 minutes, 59 seconds, 59 hundredths. A button labeled Configure Your Story. That last one got me. Configure your story. I clicked it, and a weird questionnaire popped up. Stuff like, what's your full name? What city do you currently live in? Are you comfortable with graphic scenarios? YN. What's your biggest fear? Choose your setting. Options were suburban, urban, isolated, familiar. Upload a photo of yourself. Optional. I thought it was part of the immersion, like some AI-generated horror thing or something, so I filled it out. I didn't upload a photo though. That felt a little too real. I picked urban as the setting, wrote my city, Toronto, and for biggest fear, I just typed, being watched. Again, I thought this was just part of a game. Like, they generate some spooky footage of a stalker, maybe fake your apartment, or something using stock footage. You know, Blumhouse vibes. So I submit the thing, and it confirms. You are the protagonist. You are the victim. Tune in 3 days from now. Cool. Whatever. I figured I'd get a few creepy videos and call it a night. Fast forward 3 days. It's Tuesday night. I'd kind of forgotten about the whole thing. I was watching Netflix, scrolling Instagram, and then I get this email notification. Subject: Your murder mystery begins now. From no reply at mystery, me.liveinside was just a link back to the site. I clicked it, and the stream started immediately. This is where things start getting real. The video was in black and white, grainy like old security footage. The camera showed the inside of an apartment. I remember my stomach dropping the second I realized it looked exactly like mine. Same IKEA desk, same crooked bookshelf, same weird-ass stain on the rug I keep forgetting to clean. I even paused the video and turned to look at the corner of my room. It was the exact same angle. I started sweating. I checked all my open tabs. My webcam was covered. I scanned my room for cameras. I even pulled my phone out and checked for weird Bluetooth signals nearby. But the footage on the screen didn't change. It just stayed locked on my room. Empty. Quiet. Still. Then the stream glitched. And when it came back, there was someone sitting in my chair. They were wearing a hoodie, head down, and I couldn't see their face. They were just sitting there, still as stone. I thought maybe it was pre-recorded, like maybe someone had recreated my room and this was all an elaborate trick. But then, on the stream, the person lifted their phone, and on the screen, I saw my Instagram profile. Same username, same profile pic, same story I'd posted earlier that day. Me eating lunch at a downtown Starbucks with the caption, "Catch me here too often." I didn't know what to do. I checked my apartment again. Every door, every window, locked. No one was in my place. I even texted my friend Sam like, "Yo bro, do you remember me sending my address to anyone lately?" Just trying to piece together if this was a prank or something. But the stream wasn't done. In the chat next to the video, yeah, there was a live chat. People were typing. "He's about to find out. 10 minutes. He won't see it coming. Look behind you." And then the hooded figure finally looked at the camera. I swear to you, they had my face. It was me, but not me. Like AI-generated deepfake, clone me. Slightly off, uncanny, like looking in a warped mirror. And then the feed went black. I ripped the power cord out of my PC and sat in silence for like an hour, just breathing, just listening for anything. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, things have gotten weird. Real weird. My emails are being spoofed. I got a call from an unknown number. When I picked up, it was a recording of my own voice saying, 3 days left. I've seen the hooded figure in my dreams, on TikTok ads, even in reflections when I'm half asleep. The worst part, just now, before I sat down to write this, I got a new notification on my phone. It said, "Your story will end in 72 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds." I didn't sleep the night I saw the stream. I sat in my living room with every light in the apartment turned on, armed with a kitchen knife and my phone camera set to record just in case. I even stacked chairs in front of the door, like that would stop whatever the hell was going on. I called my friend Sam again around 4 a.m. He picked up, groggy, annoyed. I told him everything. The stream, the me in the video, the voice message, all of it. He laughed at first, said it was probably an ARG, some Black Mirror type marketing campaign. But then I sent him a screenshot of the stream I'd recorded before yanking my PC's power cord. The expression on the face of the thing that looked like me. It wasn't acting. It was blank, hollow, like something wearing a human mask and not knowing how to use it right. Sam stopped laughing after that. The next day, I went to a local electronics store in downtown Toronto, right across from the Eaton Centre, and dropped cash on a new laptop. No logins, no syncing, just a raw, untouched device. I didn't even bring it home. I went straight to a Starbucks inside a packed Indigo store, surrounded by people, just to feel like I wasn't going to get jumped by my own shadow. When I logged into mysteryme.live on the new laptop, the stream was back up. But now it was outside my building, not a lookalike, my actual building. It was dark, streetlights buzzing, and snow was falling, live, like it was streaming in real time. I opened my window to check. Snowflakes matched exactly, and in the corner of the video, at the bottom, was a timestamp. Live feed, 67:23:19 until event. There were more chat messages now. He left his apartment. He thinks he's safe. Let him run. It's part of the story. Watch the left window. Watch closely. So I watched, and in the grainy feed, I saw a silhouette move in the building. My unit's window. My bedroom. Someone was inside, walking, pacing, like they were waiting for me to come back. And then, the lights turned off, just like I'd left them on when I panicked and ran out. I didn't go home that night. I booked a last-minute motel on the edge of town. Dingy, half-dead plants in the hallway. One of those places with bed sheets that feel like plastic wrap, and where you hear every cough from the room next door. But it felt safer than being home. I tried calling the cops. I swear I did. Told them someone might have broken into my place, that I'd seen video proof. They asked me if I had physical signs of entry. I didn't. Nothing was broken. No locks were picked. The dispatcher literally said, "If there's no forced entry, sir, it might be someone you let in." I hung up. I kept my motel keycard between my fingers like a blade the whole night. The next day, day 2 of 3, I did something I wish I hadn't. I opened the Configure Your Story tab again. It was updated. Now there were files, WAV, audio logs, MP4 clips, even a text doc titled "The Outline of Your Ending.txt." My hand was shaking as I opened the text file. It was written in my own typing style. Same formatting, same weird grammatics I didn't even realize I had. And the first line read, "He ran from home, but the story always pulls you back." Then it detailed, in brutal clarity, exactly where I'd gone. The Starbucks, the Indigo, even what drink I ordered, a matcha latte with oat milk. I never posted that anywhere, not on my socials, not in texts. I didn't even use my loyalty card. It knew. The final lines made my throat tighten. At 3:06 a.m., the knock will come. He will answer. He will scream. But no one will believe what the neighbors saw. That night, I did the dumbest thing I could have done. I went back to my apartment. Not because I was brave. Not because I was curious. I was just exhausted. I wanted my own bed. I wanted to shower without wondering if the walls had ice. I told myself it was all fake, some elaborate scam meant to scare people into subscribing. I got home around 11:30 p.m. Everything was exactly the same. Same dishes in the sink, same hoodie thrown over my couch. No signs of break-in. Nothing. For a second, I even laughed to myself. Told myself I'd been baited by some internet performance art. I took a hot shower, got into bed, and even started watching a YouTube video to calm down. It was a lunar story, weirdly enough, about some kid who kept hearing scratching from his closet until one day the closet texted him. I remember thinking, damn, at least my closet doesn't have Wi-Fi. I fell asleep. 3:06 a.m. Bang, bang, bang. 3 slow knocks at the door. I was up before I even processed what was happening. My phone said exactly 3:06, and the second I looked at the door, the lights went out. Like someone flipped the breaker. My apartment went pitch black. The only light came from my phone screen, shaking in my hand. I held my breath. I crept toward the door, silent. I didn't say anything. I just pressed my eye to the people. Nothing. No one was there. Just the dim hallway and the buzzing exit light across the corridor. Then, a whisper, right next to the doorframe. I couldn't make out the words. Just this scratchy, wet breathing sound, like someone trying to exhale a laugh through a straw. Suddenly, I got a notification on my phone. Not a text, not an alert. AirDrop request from a device named Me. It wanted to send me a file. I am inside .move. I didn't accept it. I didn't decline it. I just stood there, frozen. The AirDrop kept refreshing, over and over, like it was waiting for me. Then my phone died. I stayed pressed against the wall until sunrise. When the lights came back, I checked everything. No forced entry, no sign of anything. Just a faint, sticky smudge on the outside of the peephole, like someone licked it. I went straight to a police station, showed them screenshots, told them everything. They listened politely, nodded, wrote some notes. Then the officer told me, "You may be experiencing a psychological event." He handed me a pamphlet about stress-induced hallucinations. No one believes me, but I know what I saw, and it's only getting worse, because last night, when I logged into my Netflix account to zone out, a new user profile had been created. It was named You Died Already, and it was watching a show called Live Burial Toronto Chapter. When I clicked on it, the episode started buffering, and then I heard the voice again, my own voice, whispering, "It's not about watching, it's about remembering. You already screamed, you just forgot the sound. 48 hours left, and I have no idea what's real anymore. Time's not working right anymore." When I woke up this morning, I found dirt in my sheets. Not like a little bit. I mean packed under my fingernails, flakes all over the pillow, like I'd clawed my way out of something during the night. My hands were shaking, my mouth dry, like I'd been screaming for hours. My legs were sore, like I'd been running, but I hadn't left the apartment. At least I don't remember leaving. I checked my phone. Livestream, 23:01:57 until event. It had jumped 24 hours forward. I lost a full day. The chat on the site was flooded with new messages. He finally did it. I didn't think he'd actually dig up the girl. Now, the real story starts. I scrolled through the feed history. It showed grainy footage of me, walking barefoot in what looked like a forest at night, wearing nothing but my t-shirt and boxers, holding a rusty shovel over my shoulder like it was an extension of my arm. The camera followed me from behind like it was mounted on something crawling. Then, it showed me digging, deep, hands and knees in the dirt. And when I hit something hard, something wrapped in garbage bags, I just laughed. Not my laugh. It was a high-pitched, forced sound, like someone trying to imitate human joy and failing, like a hyena with a broken throat. And then I pulled out the bag, dragged it into the clearing, opened it. The contents were blurred, but not all the way. You could still see enough to know it was a body. Pale arm hanging out, hair matted with blood, something carved into the chest. But the resolution dipped every time the frame got too close, like it was being censored by something that didn't want you to understand yet. I paused the video. My vision started to go tunnel. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. The mirror caught me on the way out. Not a reflection, a delay. I looked, blinked. My reflection blinked half a second later, and then it smiled. Not like I smiled, like it knew something I was still pretending wasn't real. It lifted a hand and pointed at me, behind me. I turned so fast I knocked over the towel rack. Nothing there. But when I looked back at the mirror, there were fingerprints smeared across the glass, as if someone had been pressing their hand on the inside. That night, I left the apartment, went to my parents' house across town. Figured I'd be safer there. My mom's the kind of person who still watches the news on cable and says bless you to strangers in grocery stores. She made me soup the second I walked in, even though I hadn't called ahead. Like something told her I needed comfort before I'd even showed up. I didn't tell them what was going on. I couldn't. What was I gonna say? Hey Mom, I'm being stalked by an interactive live stream that's predicting my murder. Number, I just said work was stressful. But even then, she gave me a weird look. Said, you look different. I asked what she meant. She just shook her head and said it looked like I hadn't been blinking enough lately. I slept in my old childhood bedroom that night. Same faded posters on the wall, same crooked bookshelf with Goosebumps books that probably had spiders nesting behind them. But there was something new in the room. A box, unmarked, sitting at the foot of the bed like it had always belonged there. I opened it. Inside was an old VHS tape covered in dirt, written on it in black Sharpie, watch before midnight or they will. I don't own a VCR, haven't since high school, but my dad did. Still had it in the basement next to his old record player and dead treadmill. I hooked it up to the dusty TV down there. The screen flickered. It was security cam footage, like grainy CCTV, black and white. The timestamp said 2006, November 21st, 3:33 a.m. I didn't recognize the location at first. It was a room, cement walls, chains hanging from the ceiling like a meat locker, a small metal chair in the center. Then the camera cut to another angle. It was me, sitting in that chair, at age 11, mouth taped shut, eyes wide, crying silently. And then, from the edge of the screen, someone walked in. Their face was a blur of static, constantly shifting. Like every time the camera tried to resolve it, it rejected the information. But their voice was mine. Not 11-year-old me, current me. And they leaned down to the child me in the chair and whispered, we've done this before. Again and again. You forget, but I never do. I ejected the tape and threw it against the wall. It cracked, split open, like it was made of bone instead of plastic. And from inside, a tooth. Human, still bloody. When I ran upstairs, my mom was already waiting in the hallway. She looked terrified, pale, clutching a rosary I didn't even know she owned. She said, you were sleepwalking again. I asked what she meant. She said she'd seen me go outside around 2 a.m., barefoot, and dig a hole in the backyard. When she looked out the window, I was talking to someone, but there was no one there. I went out back with a flashlight. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped it twice, and there it was, a hole, freshly dug, damp soil. Inside it, another box, smaller this time, child-sized. I opened it, expecting something awful, but what I found made my stomach collapse. A birthday card, from me, to myself. The handwriting was mine. It was dated tomorrow's date, and it said, "Happy End Day. You were always the killer. You just needed the audience to remember. It's 4 a.m. now. I haven't slept. I'm back in my apartment. I know I shouldn't be here, but I saw the latest update on the site. The stream is now showing inside my walls. No, not through my walls. Inside. Like the drywall's been cut away, and a camera is sitting inside the cavity behind my bed, and something is moving in there, breathing, scraping, and the live chat has gone silent. Just one user is active now. Username, mirror version. They keep posting the same line. You die at 0000. We all watch it happen, and you'll scream your own name. They watched me tear myself open. I don't know if this is being written by me anymore. There's blood on the keys. Not mine, I think. It smells cold, like something pulled from under a frozen lake. The timer on the stream says 2 o'clock and 13 seconds. 2 hours left. And I finally started remembering what I wasn't supposed to. I made the mistake of going back into the crawl space, the one behind my bedroom wall, where the old boiler used to be. It's been sealed since before I moved in. I always thought it was just dead space. The landlord never mentioned it. But today, something was scratching in there. Not scratching like a rat. Not the skittery, fast kind. I'm talking slow, deliberate dragging, like nails over wood, like someone trying to trace letters they forgot how to spell. I don't know what possessed me, but I pulled the bookshelf aside and pried at the seams in the drywall with a screwdriver. I expected rot, Moldavian, maybe even something dead, but what I found was a small square room, maybe 6 feet by 6 feet, walls padded in torn insulation, floor lined with yellowing newspapers, and cameras, not pointed at me, pointed at where I sleep. 6 of them, all wired through the wall, connected to a small box, a transmitter. That's how they were streaming me. That's how they've always been streaming me. I pulled the box out and it sparked, hissed, and then something clicked in my head. I remembered. A flash, a birthday party, candles, laughter, and then static and a man's voice. Smile for the mirror. They're going to love this ending. I ran to the bathroom and looked into the mirror again, not to check for a reflection, to see if he was there. And he was, standing behind me. Same face, same body, but his eyes were black, like they'd been scooped out and replaced with camera lenses, round and glossy, reflecting every inch of me back in grotesque fish-eye distortion. He smiled and pressed a single bloody finger to his lips. Shh! I turned around to kill him, to tackle him. Something, but there was no one there. Just steam rising from the sink I didn't remember turning on. On the mirror, words were scratched into the glass. Not written, scratched, with something sharp and fast. You're the rerun. They paid to see it again. You killed her before now you get to watch. The name hit me like a spike through the temple. Her name, Emily. I met her 5 years ago in New York, outside a bookstore. She had blue streaks in her hair, and smelled like cinnamon gum and old paper. We dated, moved in together. Then she vanished. The cops filed it as a missing persons case. They said she probably left. I told myself the same thing, but I just found her name on the list of archived streams on mysteryme.live. The Emily episode, victim played by unnamed viewer number 327, rerun access $33. I clicked it. The stream loaded. It was her apartment. The camera showed her pacing, crying, trying to call someone. She kept saying his name, over and over. He's not who he says he is. He has my face. Please, I think he's going to wear me. And then I walked in, but not me. The thing, the copy. It walked in wearing my hoodie, my walk, my smile. It came behind her, slowly, whispered something in her ear. Then the video glitched, like the camera couldn't stomach what it was showing. But you heard the sound, like meat being pulled off bone, like something soft breaking open. Then laughter, not from the copy, from everyone watching, hundreds of usernames, all typing the same thing. Do it again, do it again, do it again. I slammed my laptop shut, but it didn't stop. Every screen in my apartment turned on by itself. The TV, the microwave, the monitor, even my phone screen flickered alive. All of them showing the same face. Mine, rotting, splitting down the middle, with something trying to crawl out from inside. I tried to leave. I packed a bag, grabbed my passport, and ran for the hallway. But the elevator button didn't work. The stairwell door was jammed, and when I looked through the peephole, the hallway wasn't there anymore. It was just a looping video of me, standing at my door, holding a knife, and behind that me was another me, smiling, holding something worse, a bone saw, covered in fingerprints that looked just like mine. Then my phone buzzed. New notification. You've been upgraded to premium viewer. Your death will be broadcast in 4K Ultra HD. I dropped it, ran back inside, and started tearing the walls apart. Anything I could find. I broke every camera, ripped the transmitter to shreds, tore open the vents, and then I found the hatch. Under the floorboards. It was locked, but the key was already in my hand. Not metaphorically, literally. When I looked down, there was a key embedded in my palm, like it had been growing there, under my skin, just waiting. I turned it. The hatch opened. Inside, a metal room, lined in screens, and in the center, a replica of my apartment, but smaller, like a dollhouse, wired, detailed down to the dust on the fake windowsills, and inside that replica was a replica of me. Tiny, breathing, crying. I watched it pull open a laptop, type. I paid for a live feed of a murder mystery experience. The victim was me, but it hasn't happened yet. That's when I heard it. The knocking. Not on the door this time. Under the floor. From inside the replica. 3 slow, wet knocks. And then, laughing. Dozens of voices, echoing from inside the screens, from inside my mouth, from the back of my skull. They said, "It's almost midnight. Time to remember how it ends. Let's show them what you did to her. Let's make this the best episode yet." I turned on every light. I wrapped my arms in duct tape, covered every inch of my skin in layers of fabric so I wouldn't scratch anymore. I placed mirrors in every corner of the room so I could see him before he moved. But he's already here. He's sitting at my desk, typing, smiling, posting this for me. I don't know what's going to happen at midnight, but I can feel her behind the walls, breathing, watching, and when the countdown ends, They're going to make me watch myself do it all over again, because it's not a story. It's a loop, a live feed of a murder mystery experience, where I am the killer, you are the viewer, and they are always watching. 0 seconds left. There are no more updates. There are no more warnings. There is no more time. The countdown reached 0:00:00:00 12 minutes ago, and I haven't died. Not yet. But I wish I had. Because the thing that's in this room with me right now, it's worse than death. It's me. When the timer hit 0, nothing exploded. Nothing jumped out. There was no scream. No final event like in horror games. It was just silence. Like the world was holding its breath. The screens flickered. Lights dimmed. My body locked up like I'd been frozen mid-thought. It felt like all the air had been sucked out of the room, and in its place, something heavy came in, like the walls had exhaled a secret they'd been holding since before I was born. And then the website changed. The homepage was replaced with a new image, a black and white photo of me. Not a selfie, not one I've ever taken. It was an autopsy photo. My chest was cracked open like a suitcase, ribs splayed wide like insect wings. My eyes were stitched shut. Something was stuffed inside my mouth, white and wet, and folded into the shape of a letter. W. Below the photo, a line of text flickered on screen. We are live, your experience is now everyone's. And that's when I heard them. Every screen in the apartment turned on. Phones, laptops, even the microwave display started spitting out corrupted letters, like it was trying to speak. And every screen was now showing me a live stream, a close-up of my face, twitching, blinking, breathing, except I wasn't moving. The body on the screen began to move on its own. It turned its head slowly toward the camera and whispered something. I leaned in, couldn't hear, so I turned the volume up. And that's when the voice screamed, from inside the apartment, not the screen. You already killed her. You're just replaying it. The lights cut out. My backup power kicked in, but only for a second. Then, darkness. And in that blackness, I could hear mirrors shattering one by one, left to right, each one snapping like bones. And then, from behind me, breathing. Not human breathing, something shallow, fast, like someone who's only pretending to need oxygen. When I turned around, nothing, but the air smelled wrong, like burnt teeth and wet fur, and the floor beneath my feet felt soft, like I was standing on flesh. I took one step forward, and my floor moaned. My phone buzzed. New message, from an unknown number, no caller ID, no contact name. Just, are you ready to see it? Attached was a photo of my apartment. From above, there was a man in the center, kneeling, naked, covered in ink and carvings. It was me. Carvings all over my chest, my stomach, my arms. Symbols I don't understand, but recognize. Because they've been on the Mystery Me site since the beginning. Embedded in the background, in the glitches, in the teeth. And then another message came in. The episode is airing. You need to make the ending good this time. I didn't scream when I saw him again. I didn't cry. I just stood there, watching as I stepped out of the shadows. Same face, same hair, but his mouth was wrong. Too wide, too many teeth, and his eyes were pure static, not glowing, buzzing. He walked toward me with that same smile from the mirror, calm, clinical, like a surgeon. He leaned in and whispered, "They want closure. Let me finish what you started." Then he reached into his chest. Yes, into it. Tore the skin open like it was just a zipper and pulled out a knife made of teeth. I ran, didn't care where, just ran, out the apartment, down the stairs, into the street barefoot, bleeding from my feet. No one looked. No one reacted. I screamed for help in front of a Tim Hortons. No one flinched. Everyone just kept walking. Phones out, headphones in, like I wasn't even there. And then I realized they were watching. Each phone screen I passed was streaming me, not the real me, the live feed of my experience. And each title said, "Final episode, real death, do not miss." I broke into an alley behind a Popeyes, collapsed between two dumpsters, and puked bile and blood until I couldn't breathe. I curled up into myself and begged for it to be over. But the stream doesn't end until the audience leaves, and they're not leaving. That's when the final message came through, burned into my retinas. No screen, no sound, just knowledge, injected straight into my thoughts. You were the first, the original pilot, the reason this site exists. And then I remembered the room, the one from the VHS. I remember the lights, the chair, the girl. She wasn't Emily. She was someone before that, before I had a name. And I watched myself, years ago, open her throat with a mirror shard, smiling for a camera I couldn't see. That's what this has always been. Not a mystery, not a game, a loop, a rerun of trauma for the masses. Mystery, me wasn't a show. It was a catalog, a network of real people doing real things, brutal, awful, permanent things, for an audience that doesn't blink. Because if you watch it through a screen, it's not real, right? If it's branded, if it's stylized, if it's got a title and a timer and a chat box, it's entertainment. Even when someone's bleeding out on camera, even when the victim screams your name, begging for help, you don't click away. You keep watching. You always keep watching. They're here now. The lights have gone out again. The cameras are back on. I can hear the click of lenses focusing, and I see my reflection in every dark screen. They're waiting for me to do it. They need a conclusion. They've paid. They've invested. They've commented W and more and replay this episode like it's a reaction video. So I'm going to give them an ending. I'm going to take the knife. I'm going to walk to the center of the room. I'm going to carve the final words into my chest. Are you still watching? And when I fall, when I hit the floor and stop twitching, the feed will stay live. The chat will keep going. Someone else will find the link, and it'll say, I paid for a live feed of a murder mystery experience. The victim was me, but it hasn't happened yet. You're next. Do you see your reflection blinking out of sync? That's where it begins. End stream. I paid $400 for a video titled, They Landed in Antarctica. The camera cut out after they dug something out of the ice, and it blinked. Yo, what's up, Reddit? I don't post here much, and to be honest, I never thought I'd need to. But something's been bothering me for months, like full-on paranoia level bothering me, and I need to get this off my chest. I haven't slept properly in weeks, and I think someone's following me. I don't know what's real anymore. Anyway, this started back in October 2024, just a regular Thursday night. I had a Red Bull in one hand, my cracked iPhone 14 in the other, scrolling through Reddit, YouTube, TikTok, the usual dopamine hit rotation. I live alone in a one-bedroom apartment in Chicago, and I was procrastinating on editing a client's promo video. I'm a freelance video editor. Nothing fancy. Mostly wedding videos and social media promos for brands trying way too hard to go viral. But that night, I found something weird in a Discord server I'm part of. One that shares lost media, ARGs, and creepy YouTube rabbit holes. A guy with a username like Obscura Nomad 55 dropped a mega.nz link and said something like, "Found this buried in an FTP from a discontinued research station project. It's raw footage. Antarctica. $400 if you want the full uncompressed version." At first, I thought it was a joke, but he posted a 20-second preview. And guys, I wish I hadn't clicked it. The preview clip. It looked like GoPro footage, grainy, wide angle. The timestamp said December 3rd, 2009. The frame showed a snow-covered dig site. You could hear this high-pitched whine, almost like radio interference, mixed with breathing? Hard to explain. There were 5 people in white coat suits with black visors, standing around what looked like a deep trench carved into the ice. The camera zoomed in on this thing, like a chunk of something grayish-black sticking out of the ice. It didn't look like rock. It looked organic, slimy almost. It reminded me of a deep-sea fish, the kind you see in Mariana Trench documentaries that make you uncomfortable just by existing. Then, at the 18-second mark, it blinked. One eye, no eyelid, just a milky, gelatinous orb twitching once before the video cut to black. My stomach dropped. I legit closed the tab and stared at my wall for a solid minute. Buying the full video against better judgment, and I mean every red flag was waving. I DM'd the dude. Me. "Is this real?" He replied in seconds, like he'd been waiting. "As real as your nightmares, bro." Cringe, right? But he sent the payment info. Crypto wallet. No refund, no trace. Like a dumbass, I transferred $400 worth of Ethereum. I told myself it was for research, or for a short film idea I'd probably never make. He dropped a private MEGA link and vanished. Account deleted within the hour. I had the file. It was named UNSKR 113_deck3 full archive.move 7.2 gigabytes, 33 minutes and 4 seconds long. I'll break it down in part 2, but I swear on my life, I should have deleted it right then. Since watching that thing, I've been hearing noises at night. My kitchen TV turned on by itself. I caught something on my Ring cam that looked like a man crawling on all fours but backward. The disturbing part? I posted a still frame of the eye blink to a private horror community on Instagram. We mostly share creepy edits and analog horror concepts. And one of my mutuals from Norway DM'd me in all caps, like, "Bro, where did you get that? That's from Ny-Åsund. My dad worked near there with the Polar Research Group. He said they dug something up in '09 and the military shut it all down in 48 hours. So yeah, real panic mode activated. I started digging, and what I found about Ny-Åsund, the research station, and a missing team from 2009. I'll get to all of that in part 2. Trust me, this isn't some typical scary video story. This thing has layers, like government black ops, secret coordinates, distorted audio files, and stuff hidden in the waveform when I imported it into Premiere Pro. And worst of all, that thing in the ice, it wasn't the only one. I started watching the full 33-minute video around 2:43 a.m. I remember the exact time because my microwave flashed :43 when I got up to nuke leftover Chick-fil-A nuggets. I had my laptop on the kitchen counter, headphones on, lights off. Don't ask me why I chose that setting. I guess part of me didn't want to believe it'd be anything more than a weird hoax video, just another messed up found footage hoax that YouTubers would turn into creepy reaction content. But this wasn't a skit. This wasn't entertainment. This was a record of something that was never supposed to see daylight. Something so rotten, it makes you feel wrong just looking at it. Like watching a snuff film with the volume muted, but you still feel the screaming in your chest. Erpuzuzagra, 06-12. Arrival. The video opens with a choppy aerial shot from what looks like an old Russian Mi-8 helicopter. You can hear the blades chopping and a faint male voice over the radio, speaking what I think is Norwegian. There's snow whipping around violently as they descend onto a white wasteland, Antarctica. But this isn't the usual research-based setup. No tents, no flags, just a flat, untouched sheet of ice stretching endlessly, except for this giant black hole dug into it. There's no explanation, no intro, just a crew of 6 stepping out of the chopper in these matte white suits. No logos, no names. Their faces are covered with reflective visors, and they're all carrying strange gear, not research stuff, like power drills fused with some kind of sensor array that hums when it gets near the dig site. The camera's shaky. At one point, it pans across the ice and lingers for just a second too long on what looks like a massive, spiral-shaped indentation under the snow, like a huge suction mark, almost fossilized in the frost. It's the size of a football field. And then they descend into the pit. 06, 13, 15, 46. The shaft. They go down this makeshift steel ladder that leads into a vertical shaft, easily 100 feet deep. The walls are made of exposed ice and frozen bedrock. The deeper they go, the more the camera audio warps. You start hearing these low, vibrating pulses, like whale songs slowed to a demonic crawl. It's not ambient noise. It's not wind. It sounds biological, like something is alive in the layers of ice, something enormous. Then one of them says, clear as day in English, "There's movement. Below us, tracking at 400 meters. I paused right there and had to take off my headphones. My ears were ringing, and for a second, no lie, I thought I heard tapping behind my bedroom wall. I live alone. 15:47 to 20:02. The blink, around 16 minutes in, they reach what they call the chamber. It's a hollowed-out cavern in the ice. It looks like it was melted, not drilled. The walls are smooth, rounded, almost organic-looking, like they weren't made by machines, but by something alive. And in the center of the room, buried in a pillar of frost, is the thing from the preview clip. But the preview didn't do it justice. It's about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. Pitch black, glistening under a floodlight. It looks like a heart or a brain, but insect-like, with crusted ridges and needle-thin hair structures poking out of it like whiskers. Tubes branch from it like veins, frozen mid-spasm. It twitches once, then again. That's when it blinks. Not once, but twice. Both eyes open, one on either side of the head. They glow a dull seafoam green. There's no eyelid, just 2 gelatinous orbs shifting inside translucent sockets. It doesn't look curious. It doesn't look scared. It looks awake. It looks hungry. And then the lights start flickering. 20:03 to 25:55. The screaming one of the crew members, he's holding a thermal scanner, starts panicking. He says something about heat signatures coming from behind the walls, inside the ice. Not one, not two. Dozens, hundreds, moving, crawling upward. Another voice shouts, "Do not touch it." Repeat, "Do not breach the surface. Membrane." Too late. One of the idiots, probably the one holding the drill, touches the thing with the scanner, and that's when everything goes to absolute hell. The creature screams, not like a human scream, but like a seismic event. This deep, distorted blast of noise that shakes the entire tunnel. The camera glitches. You hear bones crunching, metal bending, someone screaming, "It's in my head! It's in my head!" over and over before his mic cuts out. The footage jumps. Now it's upside down, red lighting everywhere. One guy's crawling on the floor with his face peeled open, not bloody, peeled, like something unzipped him and left him alive. His eyes are still moving, like he's trying to find someone to help him. One of the others is laughing, just sitting there in the corner, rocking back and forth, muttering in some dead language that sounds wet. Another one is dragging himself toward the ladder, leaving behind a trail of blood and teeth. Just teeth. Dozens of human teeth, like he spit them out as he screamed. You can hear whispering in the background now, layered under the glitchy static. We were not the first. We were not the first. We were not the first. Then, out of nowhere, the creature breathes. You see the frost on the walls melt as it exhales, and the screen just goes white. 25:56 to 33:04. The exit final part of the footage. The last surviving member is recording vertically now, like on a phone. He's above ground. His suit is torn. His gloves are gone. His fingers are blue and cracked open. He's whispering through chattering teeth. He says, "Don't dig. Don't follow. Don't listen to the signal. If you hear the static, run. It doesn't want to be found. It wants to be remembered." He turns the camera toward the pit. It's no longer there. It's just closed. Like the ice resealed itself. No signs of drilling. No ladder. Nothing. Just smooth snow. And then he looks behind him. His face drops. He gasps. And right before the camera cuts off, you hear something crawl over the mic. Fast, wet, human-sized. And then a voice says, perfectly mimicking his own voice, "Don't follow." And the screen cuts to black. Aftermath. I stared at my screen for 10 minutes after the video ended. No music, no ending, just darkness. My laptop was frozen. Like, actually frozen. I couldn't move the cursor. I had to do a hard reboot. When it finally turned back on, the video file was gone. Not in recycle bin, not in recent, not in search history, nothing. The MEGA link was dead, deleted. The user, still gone. And here's the part that's burned into my brain. My camera was on. I don't mean the file turned it on. I mean the little green light on my MacBook webcam. That thing was on when I rebooted. I never turn it on. Ever. I had tape over it for years. I took the tape off 2 weeks before this happened because I needed to use Zoom once. It's like something new. Since that night, 3 things have happened. My phone won't stop buzzing with blocked number calls. Every night at 3:11 a.m., I got a package in the mail with no return address. Inside was a VHS tape, just labeled Recording 2. My apartment smells like frost, like cold, even when the heat's blasting. And every night I hear scraping under the floorboards. Not rats, not plumbing, scraping, slow, deliberate. I haven't dared to watch the VHS, but I will. And when I do, I'll upload what I see, unless it gets me first. It sat on my counter for 3 days. The VHS tape, unmarked, unlabeled, aside from one thing scratched into the top plastic. with what looked like a box cutter. Recording 2. The letters weren't written. They were etched, the way a child might carve into a desk out of frustration. But this didn't feel like anger. This felt surgical, like someone needed me to see it. Like it wasn't a message, but an invitation. I don't even own a VCR. Hadn't touched one since the early 2000s. So how the hell did they know I'd find a way to watch it? Because I did. Like an idiot, I bought a used Sony SLV-N900 off some guy on Facebook Marketplace for $20. Met him at a Starbucks in Naperville, and the guy straight up told me, "You're the third person to buy one of these this week. You looking for the Antarctica tape too?" He smiled like he was joking, but I didn't laugh. I didn't say a word. I just paid and left. The setup, I plugged the VCR into the old plasma TV in my bedroom, the one I only used to stream old analog horror playlists at night when I was editing late. It was 2:48 a.m. when I hit play. The screen buzzed, static, a faint hiss. Then the image snapped into view. Not the same footage, not the pit, not the expedition. This time, it was inside a building. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 to 6, 3, 3. The White Room. The video begins inside what looks like a sterile facility. Brightly lit. Walls tiled in off-white ceramic. Floors made of grey rubber. The kind of place you'd expect to find under an airport or behind a government lab. The camera is handheld again, but too still. Like whoever's filming isn't moving like a person. No bobbing, no breathing, just slow, robotic gliding through the hallway, like it's being pushed on a dolly. Except there's a mirror at the end of the hall, and no one's holding the camera. There's no one in the reflection. As the cam moves closer, you start to notice stuff that shouldn't be there. Fingerprints inside the mirror. Smears like something tried to push out. And the audio is layered now. Beneath the soft hum of fluorescent lights, there's a subtle clicking, like nails tapping glass, in rhythm. 4 taps, pause, 4 taps, pause. Then it stops. Then someone whispers, right up against the mic, like they're inside your ear. You're already infected. 06, 34 to 1455. Subject, 0, 4, 5, 2, 3. A. Now the camera enters a room with a long surgical table. There's a man on it, at least what's left of him. He's strapped down with rusted leather restraints, shirtless. His ribs are visible through his skin, but not because he's thin, because something is moving inside his chest cavity, pushing the skin upward, like a trapped animal trying to get out. A woman's voice begins to speak, distorted like it's coming from a broken PA system. Subject, 45, 23 Alpha. Initial contact at site KR113. Neural disruption began 12 minutes post-exposure. Currently exhibiting involuntary movement of dermal tissue. Vocal cords were severed following phase 3 to limit interference. The camera zooms in. The man's eyes are sewn shut, but tears leak from the corners. Not water, black fluid. It drips down his cheeks and burns through the table like acid. His fingers twitch and bend backwards, dislocating in silence. And then he starts mouthing something. His lips slowly open and close. His throat bulges. He's speaking with no vocal cords. I paused the tape. Rewound. Watched it again. I wrote it down. It's not from here. It was asleep. We were the noise. 1456 to 2240. The visitor room. Cut to another hallway. The lights start to flicker, and now the camera is glitching. You know when a magnet hits a screen? That ripple effect. It's like that, but in the air, in real time. Suddenly, it's night. Same hallway, same camera. But now there's something in the background. It's standing at the end of the corridor. Not a person. It's humanoid, but off. Like someone stretched skin over a frame not meant for it. Its arms hang too low, fingers too long. It has no face, just a smooth, reflective plate where the head should be. And it's breathing. You can hear it. Loud, wet. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Like it's trying not to scream. Then it turns toward the camera. No head tilt, no movement. Just a sudden shift in orientation, like the footage itself warped to make it happen. A high-pitched shriek rips through the tape. Not loud, but painful. It vibrates your eardrums. I grabbed my headphones and threw them across the room. My nose started bleeding. No joke. I got up and saw blood dripping onto my hoodie. The tape kept playing. 2241 to 2900. The experiment. Now it's showing multiple rooms, cells, holding chambers. Each one contains a person, or used to. Room 1. A man rocks back and forth, pulling his own scalp off in strips, repeating, "I never stopped hearing it," while chewing his own teeth. Room 2. A woman stares at the ceiling, eyes wide, no blinking. She's speaking backwards, in perfect reverse English. When I reversed the audio later, she was repeating, "They opened it. They let it see us. Now it knows our names." Room 3. A child, maybe 10, standing in the corner. He turns to the camera. His mouth is sewed open, not shut, open, and something is inside, just past his throat. It blinks. Then the power cuts. The lights go out. Full black screen. But the audio continues. You hear doors opening, screaming, ripping, flesh hitting walls, bone cracking. One voice shouting, "Shut it down! Shut it down! It's not contained anymore." Then clear as day, the child's voice. Now clean, adult, perfect, English. I'm already inside. 2901 to 33. Contamination. The final sequence is almost unbearable. The footage cuts between live CCTV of cities, New York, Tokyo, London, Moscow, all with glitching street cameras, people moving like broken puppets. You start seeing things in the background, not people, shadows, crawling up buildings, standing motionless in McDonald's windows, sitting in the back seat of Ubers, appearing in airport security footage, just for one frame at a time. At the very end, the video goes black again, but a single sentence appears in red glitch text. If you've seen this, you're marked. And then, the tape ejects by itself. Since watching the tape, I burned it, took it into the alley behind my apartment, and lit it on fire in a rusted trash barrel. It didn't burn like plastic. It hissed, like it was alive. I swear I heard something whisper as it melted. "You made a copy." I didn't. I'm sure I didn't. But something's different now. My mirrors don't show my reflection anymore. At night, I hear something breathing under my mattress. The static channel on my TV plays my voice, but I'm not speaking. My phone wakes me up at 3:11 a.m. with recordings of me sleep-talking in languages I don't know. And yesterday, I saw someone following me again, except it wasn't a person. It was the thing with no face from the hallway. It was standing inside a CVS, looking directly at me through the security mirror. Its head didn't move, but somehow I could feel it smile. This was never just about a video or Antarctica. This is infection, and I don't know how far it spread. All I know is this: something was trapped beneath that ice, and now it's not. And now it wants you to see it too. There are things I can't unsee. There are sounds I can't unhear. And there's something inside me now. This part isn't about a tape. It's not about Antarctica anymore. It's about the signal. The one buried in the audio. The one that activates something. Something that waits in the background noise. In static. In silence between YouTube ads. TikTok sounds. Discord call drops. It waits for you to listen. Day 12. After watching the tape, it started with a tone. High-pitched, like an old dial-up modem, but deeper. Felt more like a pressure than a sound, like something drilling into your jawbone. I first heard it when I opened Instagram. I tapped through a story of some random influencer posing in Paris, and behind the generic trap music was the tone. Barely audible, but my vision blurred. My nose bled again. I felt cold behind my eyes. I closed the app. It didn't help, because then my fridge turned on. I don't mean the motor. I mean it turned on, like a screen flickered on the front door that was never there before. It glitched, pixelated, and for a single frame, it showed my face, but the mouth wasn't mine. It was smiling. It didn't blink, and it whispered, "You're learning to hear it now." The infection spreads. Digitally, I isolated the audio from the tape, the last 11 seconds where the voice said, "You're marked." Imported it into Premiere, stretched the waveform. Nothing at first. But when I zoomed in, frame by frame, there was a pattern. It looked like a spiral, not random, not static. It was a biological structure, like a sonar map of a bat's screech, but layered with what looked like fetal heartbeats. Not one, 6. And when I played it backwards, it didn't just sound different. It triggered my fire alarm. 3 beeps, then silence. Then my Alexa turned on by itself and said, "Do not rewind the message again." I didn't tell it to do anything. I don't even use Alexa. I just got it as a joke from a friend during a Secret Santa exchange. I hadn't used it since 2023. The damn thing wasn't even plugged in. I threw it out the window. Next morning, it was back on my shelf. Powered on, the first death. 2 days later, my friend Sammy died. He was the only person I showed the waveform to. We met at a Burger King just off I-88. I showed him the waveform spiral on my cracked iPad. He joked it looked like a uterus made of radar. Typical Sammy. But when I played the tone on low volume, his nose bled within seconds. He collapsed before finishing his Whopper. Paramedics said it was a stroke. But at the funeral, his sister told me something that made my spine go cold. He started drawing circles in his sleep, spiral after spiral. Said he could see them in the walls when he closed his eyes. I asked her what them meant. She looked at me and said, "You shouldn't have played that sound. They're watching through screens. It's not about video. It's not about sound. It's sensory invasion. These things, whatever they are, they use our tech as portals, filters, channels. You ever stare at your reflection on a turned-off phone screen long enough? Ever feel like it stares back?" I recorded myself sleeping. Night 1, tossing, murmuring, nothing wild. Night 2, I sit up at 3:11 a.m., dead silent. Just sit there, eyes open, breathing slow. But here's the catch. I don't remember waking up. Night 3, I'm not in bed anymore. The video shows me standing in front of the TV, staring at the static channel, naked, still, silent. Then the screen shifts. My reflection disappears. I don't move, but the TV laughs. A garbled, wet laugh. Not human. I pause the video, enhance the frame, in the static, for just 2 seconds. A shape. It looks like a malformed deer skull, except the horns are fingers. Human fingers. Dozens of them. branching out like antlers, twitching. Below it, a mass of skin. No legs, no arms, just a torso dragging itself toward the camera. And behind it, my voice. You let me in. The visitor returns. 3 nights ago, I saw it again. The faceless one. Not in a dream. Not in static. In person. I was walking down a grocery aisle in a 24-hour Walmart. I hadn't slept in 2 days. Eyes burned. Mind gone. I just wanted toothpaste. I turned into aisle 7. There it was. Middle of the aisle. 7 feet tall. No face. That same reflective plate. Only now it was warped like melting metal. Its body was still twitching in place, like a video buffering on low bandwidth. Its arms hung to the floor, dragging 4 blood trails behind it like a mop. Everyone else didn't see it. They passed it like it wasn't there. One guy even walked through it. His head twitched when he did. Eyes rolled back. He smiled like he was choking and whispered, "We're all online now." I found the file. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I just followed the rabbit hole. Reddit thread on r/conspiracy pointed me to a TOR page. The URL was just coordinates. -78.464707106.83472 Antarctica. The page had one file, 666.6 megabytes in size, called Host Root Song Final.wave. I downloaded it. My laptop fan kicked in like it was trying to lift off. I opened it. Didn't press play. Just looked at the spectrogram. I swear to God, it formed an image. A human skull, split in half. Inside it, another skull, smaller, like a parasite, mouth open, screaming. And beneath it, words carved into the base of the sound data. We were buried to save you. But it's too late. You read this far. You saw the words. That's enough. The spiral is in me. Now. It's not a file. It's a contagion. A signal wrapped in visuals, layered in frequencies. Human ears can't fully register, but the mind can. The subconscious absorbs it, feeds it, like a sponge soaking in rot. My dreams aren't dreams anymore. I don't even think I sleep. I close my eyes and see cities crumbling, not from bombs, but from inside out. Buildings peeling like skin, revealing things underneath. People changing, heads splitting, mouths opening horizontally, jaw unhinging like snakes, whispering one phrase as they stretch their arms to the sky. We remember what you buried, and at the center, always, that spiral, spinning, drilling, calling. I don't know what part 5 will be. Maybe it's an ending, maybe it's a death, or maybe I'm not the one who'll be writing it, because I'm not alone in this body anymore. Something else is watching from behind my eyes, and it's learning to smile. I don't know if this is me writing anymore, but I'll finish it. Whatever's inside me, I'll let it watch. I'll let it guide my hands. Maybe if I tell you everything, you'll understand why none of this ends. Not here. Not with me. There's no closure, no final act, no heroes or exorcists or scientists to contain what we found. What they dug out of the ice in Antarctica wasn't a creature. It was a trigger, a broadcast signal, a consciousness made of data, sound, memory, and suffering. Too big for our world, too old to have a name. We didn't wake it up. It woke us up. It started speaking. Through me, last night, I streamed on Twitch. I haven't gone live in months. I didn't click start stream. It did. I woke up in my chair. OBS running. Mic hot. Chat full of confused messages. Yo, this is creepy AF. What's wrong with your face? Dude, stop smiling. It's freaking me out. I checked the VOD. For 2 hours, I sat in the dark. No blinking. Just staring. But the audio, It wasn't just my breathing. There was something layered under it. A low, pulsing rhythm. Not music, not a voice. A frequency. When you spectrogram it, the waveform becomes teeth. Hundreds of jagged rows. Like a shark's maw, closing over the entire audio file. The clip ends with me saying, in a voice, not my own, "Welcome to the spiral." Then everything cuts. I checked my Discord. The link was auto-posted in 6 servers. The file shared. The infection spreads now, not by video, but by voice. The mirror cracked. I smashed my bathroom mirror 3 days ago. I had to. Every time I looked, my reflection blinked a second too late. I'd smile, and it would keep staring. Then it started talking back, not with words, with mouth shapes, things no human mouth should do. One day it said something silent, but I could feel the syllables echo in my teeth. I typed what I thought it said into Google Translate. It auto-detected the language as unknown. The translation came back as, "We are the roots beneath your minds." I went back to where it started. I drove out of Chicago, following the GPS coordinates embedded in the lost sound file. I didn't put them in. I don't even remember opening maps. But when I blinked, they were there, typed into the search bar, waiting. A forest in Ontario, Wabicon Lake, abandoned Cold War listening station. Took me 12 hours to get there. No service, no people, no sounds but the crunching of my own feet through snow. It was buried under the earth. A concrete hatch, cracked open, like something pushed its way out from beneath. Graffiti on the walls in languages I couldn't read. Symbols that looked like spirals merging with eyes. Cameras melted into the walls like they had grown there. And at the center, an old reel-to-reel radio transmitter, still humming, still powered. A message played every 6 minutes, on loop, garbled at first, but then clear. You open the mouth. Now it speaks through you. I touched the speaker. My skin peeled off, not burned, not sliced, peeled, like it wanted to be closer to the signal, like it was trying to let it in. I didn't scream. I felt calm, euphoric, like becoming a part of something much older than pain. They don't die. They transform. The creatures, the ones from the video, they're not monsters, not aliens. They're us, broken open, exposed. Their bodies reshaped by the infection of knowledge. The expedition team? They didn't die in that pit. They were uploaded. Their minds were shredded, repurposed, absorbed into the broadcast itself. That's why the tapes knew what I looked like. That's why the spiral shows up in my dreams, on my phone, in the blood vessels of my eyes when I look too closely in the mirror. Their voices are still in the waveform. When I isolate certain frequencies, I can hear them begging to forget. I'm changing. I pulled 3 teeth out of my mouth last night. Didn't hurt. They slid out like they didn't belong, like they were just placeholders for something else. My spine itches, like something is growing along it. When I lie down, I swear I feel limbs beneath my skin, like folded arms pressing against my ribcage, waiting, restless. I can't eat. I crave static. I record white noise and play it back at full volume. In it, I hear voices speaking in chorus. We were here before sound, before thought, before shape. You are the antenna. You are the vessel. The spiral isn't a shape. It's a map. It leads inward. It pulls you down, layer by layer, until you're not sure where you end and it begins. I drew it over my walls, my ceiling, my skin. I don't even remember doing it. Woke up yesterday to find the word receiver carved into my chest. Last transmission. I got a package this morning. Same blank envelope. No return address. Inside, one flash drive. One note, handwritten in shaking ink. You finish it. We've all told our part. The rest is yours. I plugged it in. One file. 6 minutes long. A video. No images. Just black screen. Just breathing. But when I opened Premiere, the shadow of a face appeared in the waveform. Not mine. And beneath it, a whisper. Director. Sharp. Metallic. This is how it spreads. Not with teeth. With attention. And that's when I heard footsteps in my kitchen. I live alone. I'm writing this from my closet. Laptop balanced on my lap. The door's locked. But I hear it breathing outside. Mimicking my own voice now. Saying things I haven't said yet. It's not here to kill me. It's here to finish downloading. If you read this, I'm sorry. It's already in you now. The spiral heard you reading. The waveform mapped your thoughts. This wasn't a story. This was a transmission. And now you're broadcasting it too. The signal continues. The spiral grows. The body is temporary. The frequency is forever. Goodbye. Or hello. Whichever version of you is still left.